Hey everyone. Hoping everyone is good. Hoping everyone is well. We are in November. It's been a few months, but we are here. And welcome back to everyone who is tapping in. I had this heavy on my mind. I've been experiencing something that I think the vocabulary of what we use as what we verse a certain thing in our lives has become. And is using the word broken. Not only do I hear it from people around me, but from people that I love, people that I sit in spaces of counseling. They are trying to define and find their way. And honestly, it's something I used to say to myself as well. And that phrase is, I'm broken. There's this concept that we need to fix. As if we are entirely broken, shattered beyond repair. But I want us to pause for a second because, to be honest, most of us are just navigating through our lives the best way that we can. And we're trying to make sense of pain, a change, growth, and new chapters. We're trying to survive the moments that hurt and learn from the ones that can heal us. And grace. Listen to me closely. Grace will always be an option when you are walking through uncharted territory that you've never experienced before. I want to remind you that words have power. And here's something we often forget. Words, and the way that we say it, and the way that we use it, and the way that we put it out in the world has power. The words we attach to ourselves are not just labels, they become beliefs. They start shaping the way that we see ourselves and the way we move throughout this world. And if I believe that I am broken, then what I'll continue to tell myself is that broken parts of me can never be fixed. Because all I'll be focused on is my shattered pieces and what's wrong with me, what's missing, what went wrong, instead of what's beautifully working in my life. And listen, I'm not saying that you should ignore what you've been through. I would never tell you to pretend that your trauma, your triggers, your pain didn't happen. We all carry stories that left marks. Some of them change us permanently, but calling yourself broken keeps you living under that story instead of walking out of it. I go by this motto, and I tell people as well, when we are in intimate spaces and they are sharing, I say, life happens for you, not to you. Here's something that I've learned over time. Life doesn't just happen to us, it happens for us. And that small shift in the language, it definitely makes a huge difference. When I thought that life was happening to me, I felt like a victim of every circumstance that I was sitting in. Every bad season meant I was being punished. Every loss meant something was wrong with me. But when I started seeing life as happening for me, I realized those same experiences were shaping me. They were teaching me, and baby, they were refining me. An old person walks in their purpose without scars. Those moments that made you cry, question, fall apart, they're the same ones that carved you for your strength, for your empathy, for your wisdom, and baby, for your purpose. And I also want to remind you that you are not a machine that needs to be fixed. I'll repeat that again. You, my baby, you are not a machine that needs to be fixed. When we think about the word broken, we think about it in congruence to a phone or a car. We think of it as being useless until it's repaired. We throw it away or we replace it. That's not what we do when it comes to people. You are not a machine. You are not an appliance that needs to be fixed. You are a living, breathing story in progress. And some chapters are heavy. They are. Some pages are messy. But that doesn't mean that your story is ruined, my baby. And you are evolving. You are becoming. And there's a difference between being in the process and being broken. I want to tell you about the language of healing. Because what you say to yourself matters. Instead of saying, I'm broken, I need you to say something like, in this process, I'm healing. In this process, I'm learning to understand myself. In this process, I'm growing through this. In this process, my baby, I am rebuilding. Those are the truths that leave room for the possibility, right? They don't erase your pain. They just remind you that pain isn't the end of your story. When you say I'm broken, you stop the story there. You put a period. I'll say that again. When you say that I'm broken, because see, listen, I'm broken is a definitive statement. You put a period there, and you make no room for anything else to come after. When you say I'm healing, you're saying I believe in me. You see how positive that came out? I'm broken has a negative connotation. I'm healing. Even though it hurt, my baby, it means that you are on a progress of getting better. And then, as we talk about the transfer of language, we have to talk about grace. And many of us can't give ourselves grace because sitting with grace means that we got to forgive some things about ourselves that we ain't ready to forgive. Or we have to acknowledge that we got to a certain point. And now we need to sit with that and say, you know what? It's okay. We have this belief as people that we have to punish ourselves many times for what we've gone through. Grace is the key ingredient to your life. Grace for yourself when you didn't have it all figured out. It's grace for yourself when you messed up again and again, when you react instead of respond, when you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, my baby. We all have done it. You don't owe perfection to anyone, not even yourself. You owe yourself compassion. You owe yourself patience. You owe yourself a moment to say, you know what? It happened. I forgive myself. I'm going to do better. And I move on. And there's this kind of strength that grace provides for you. And it also reminds you, even if today I didn't show up perfectly, I can still show up. And that counts, and that's enough. We got this trap of this brokenness culture, I think sometimes we've turned broken into a personality, like it's trendy to be the most damaged person in the room. Yeah, I'm sure we all know someone like that. You tell the story, you share in an authentic space, and you can just feel when someone wants to let you know that their story is more traumatic than yours. Or maybe you have found yourself in situations with people that you love, and you identify your brokenness as like a part of your personality. We tend to bond over the hardest stories, who've been hurt the most. And while we share pain, and it can build connection, it can also trap us if we never move past it, okay? And healing isn't supposed to make you forget what happened. It's supposed to free you from what defined it. So when you keep saying, I'm broken, what we're really doing is we are reinforcing this identity that no longer belongs to us. We're telling ourselves, I'm stuck here, and you are not. You never were. Again, when I say I'm broken, I'm putting a period there. I'm not allowing for anything to be said after. And I want to remind you that you are a work of art. You are not a repair project, okay? My baby, you are not a project. Think about this. You ever seen pottery? I remember seeing this some years ago. It's Japanese pottery. I cannot for the life of me, goodness, I should have researched this. It starts with a K. Anyway, it's a type of pottery, and it's an art form where broken bowls or vases, they are repaired with gold. The cracks, they are not hidden. They are highlighted. So in between the cracks are gold. And it's a beautiful, beautiful art piece, because in that culture, the break is not something to be ashamed of, my baby. It's part of the beauty. And that's how I see people and how we should see ourselves. You're not meant to be flawless. None of us are. You're meant to be whole. And wholeness includes the parts that was once broken. So instead of saying I'm broken, what if you said, I'm becoming more whole? What if you decided that your cracks are not flaws, but they are beautiful features that tell a story about how that light came in, my baby? Ooh, use that. And I also want us to shift the narrative. Let me give you 3 practical things that you can start doing today to change your language and your mindset around this idea of being broken. Number 1, catch yourself when you use negative self-talk. When the voice, tells you, or when you start off saying your story and you say, I'm broken, I need you to pause and reframe that. I need you to say, I'm having a hard day. I'm still healing. I'm growing through it. And name the truth without limiting your potential changes, okay? Number 2, I need you to surround yourself with people who speak life into you. If everyone around you is normalizing pain but not growth, you'll stay in the pain. I'm going to say that again, okay? Surround yourself with people who speak life into you. If everyone around you is normalizing pain but not growth, you are going to stay in that pain. Be around people who see you not for your brokenness, but for your resilience. And number 3. I'm going to need you to reflect on how far you've already come. I think we miss that. We miss the progress. We miss giving ourselves the hand claps. We miss telling ourselves, baby, you was at point A at one time. And baby, you were close to the point B. Sometimes we get so focused on what still hurts that we forget what we already healed. I want you to look back and honor the times that you thought you wasn't going to make it and you did, huh? That's evidence that you are not broken. You're building yourself stronger every time, and you are still worthy. The truth is, you are still worthy even in the middle of your healing. You don't have to be fixed to be loved, seen, or valued. You are not behind. You are not too late. The language of broken makes you feel like you need to be whole, like you need to prove something before you can belong. But worthiness, my baby, is already yours. It was given to you when you were born. Healing isn't about earning love. It's about remembering that you already deserve all of it. And there is this power in choosing new words. So as we go, throughout this week and then we go into next week, I want you to start paying attention to the words you choose when you talk about yourself. When you look in the mirror and start picking yourself apart, I want you to stop and ask yourself, is this truth or is this my habit? That's going to hit some of y'all heavy. Y'all ever did the mirror technique? Okay, I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna tell you about the mirror technique, because this is what I did for a very long time in my process of healing. Okay, so let me get this point out and then I'll tell you about the mirror technique. Okay. All right. So when you look in the mirror, again, I want you to identify your truths. Is this my truth or is this a habit that I'm telling myself? Okay, because a lot of what we call our truth isn't about ourselves. It's just a language that we've been repeating for so long. And you can choose new words. You can rewrite your story. Because I have to reiterate to you, you are not broken. You are growing, you are healing, and you are becoming the new you. In that journey, that's where your strength lives. And I want to remind you, if nobody told you today, I'll tell you, my baby, I'm proud of you, because I know the process of going from one place to another. I'm proud of the way that you're showing up, even when it hurts. I'm proud of the way that you're learning to love yourself through. Now, let me break this concept of the mirror work that you can do. All right, so now there are different variances of mirror work, but many of the steps are pretty much kind of congruent and the same. So it'll be mostly the same kind of format. It may, be different from person to person, but I'll explain it to you and you can utilize it whenever you feel healthy enough to do so. So when it comes to mirror work, it is identifying what is in you, and it's really taking a look, not just the exterior, my baby. I'm talking about the interior of yourself. There is something that happens when you have to stare and look at yourself in the mirror, and you really have to identify and sit with self. And so mirror work is basically a practice, that helps you to connect with yourself on a real soul level. And again, it's not the surface you, it's not the public you, it's not the, the personification that you put out in the public, but it's behind the eyes, it's the core of you, it's the internal work that you need to do on yourself. It's where you look yourself in the mirror and you start talking the truth, speaking the truth about yourself. And we have to isolate our beliefs with our truths. And so the mirror work helps to do that. A belief is something that you learned or accepted, and it's often shaped by your experiences with people, with your culture, any kind of pain. And the truth is something that exists whether anyone believes it or not, okay? Let's get that out there. Let's repeat that part, okay? All right, belief, Now, belief is something that you've learned or accepted. Truth, baby, truth don't need no help. Whether somebody believes it or not, it still stands. So, for example, okay, a belief could be that you may say to yourself, I'm not enough. The truth is, I'm always enough. Baby, you were born enough. The belief may be that, baby, I'm broken. The truth is, I'm whole and I'm healing, because that is what you are doing in the process of living. The purpose of mirror work is to separate the two, to stop living by your beliefs and minimize you, and start anchoring yourself into a truth that restores the complete you. So let me break this down to you from step 1 all the way to step 5, okay? Step 1. Normally what it is you just find you a moment, right? When you feel healthy enough that today I'm going to do this. Because let me tell you something. When you are in a space of indecision, I don't know if don't force yourself to do anything. When you become confident enough to really do this mirror work, it is sitting in the moment and saying and deciding, I'm going to do this. You go stand in front of that mirror, my baby. Somewhere, private, whether it's in, your room, or I would say do it in your home. The kids ain't around. Your partner ain't around. It's just you. You look yourself in the eyes, and it's going to be uncomfortable at first. And it's okay, because, you're getting to be real with yourself, your authentic self. Number 2, I want you to say your name out loud. Identifying with you saying your name grounds you into who you are. Then start noticing what comes up. What do you hear yourself saying in your head? What labels pop up? Don't judge them, just notice. So I'll give you an example. When I did the mirror work and standing there and saying my name, my baby, you know what I'm saying? I tried to say it with authority, but what happened was I was saying it loud, Lisa Marie. But I cracked under all of that because my loudness didn't define who I really was. I was still struggling. And so what I identified was that even though I could be loud and bold in my presentation, baby, I was cracking under the seams. And so I identified that I wasn't as strong as I thought I was. Another thing that I called out about myself is that I was struggling. And I have talked about this many times, where I struggled with saying no and always being available to people. And so I knew that the strength that I wanted to gain by doing this mirror work was to identify myself as a solid person and not one where I allow people to make decisions for me. So when you do this mirror work and you are saying your name, I want you to identify what that sounds like for you and what comes up for you. Step 3, start separating your belief from your truth. Ask yourself, who told me this, right? Who told me that I was ugly? Who told me that I was naggy? Who told me I complained too much? Who told me that I was too hurt? Who told me that I wasn't enough? Who told me that I wasn't smart enough? Ask yourselves those questions. And ask yourself if it comes from hurt, if it comes from rejection, fear, or comparison. Because if that's what it is, baby, that's not your truth. That's a belief. If it comes from love, peace, and clarity, my baby, that is truth. Okay? So correlate those. And even if you need to have a notebook sitting in front of a mirror, right? And you call out all of the things that maybe you believe or someone have told you, write that down and separate that from truth and the belief. Step 4. Now I need you to configure the language. I need you to speak loud in your truth. I am healing. I am capable, my baby. I deserve joy. I forgive myself. I am not, what? That key word, that B word that we was talking about? I am not broken. Say them until they start to sound familiar to you, because that's what reprogramming does. It takes repetition for you to get it. You are rewiring your inner dialogue one word at a time. And step 5, I need you to sit in your gratitude, okay? End it with some form of gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Look at yourself in the mirror. Thank you for showing up for me today. I thank the person in the mirror for still being here, still trying, and still choosing grace. And go on about your day, huh? We make this more complicated than it really is. Sitting idle in what we consider our brokenness spins the wheel of damage. Again, I'm going to repeat to you, when I say I'm broken, I'm putting a period there. Nothing else can follow that covers or rewires the feeling of unbrokenness. And I know, on the surface, all of this sounds weird, strange, For many of you who have not done work in this way, it seems very foreign. It's going to be awkward for a minute. But let me tell you how it's very, very powerful. When you speak to yourself directly, you bypass the mask that you wear for the world. You can't hide from your reflection. And that's where your healing starts. And every time you look in that mirror and choose truth over belief, you're teaching your mind that you are safe to love yourself again. You're teaching your heart that it's okay to trust yourself. And you are rewriting the what? The script. So when you catch yourself saying, I'm broken, that's your cue to pause. I need you to pause, okay? I need you to go to that mirror. I need you to look at yourself in your eyes and say, no, I am healing. I am learning and I am becoming whole. That's the moment that you reclaim your power. That's the moment that the old language starts to lose its grip. And you don't need to fix yourself. You just need to see yourself again, clearly, lovingly, and truthfully. Because the words that you speak, especially the ones you speak to your own reflection, are either watering or growing or starving you. Which one you want to do, my baby? Choose truth. Choose grace. And every time you look in that mirror, remind yourself, you were never broken. You were just becoming. Okay? I hope that episode helped somebody. Because if I hear broken one more time, my baby, if I hear broken one more time, I'm going to play this episode for each and every person to listen to, because we have to rewire the language in which we use. We got to stop putting periods behind statements. We have to allow for commas to intercede in the middle of what we say so that something else can flow through on a positive note. I am. I will. I do. And we say this with assertion. Thank you so much for listening. I missed y'all. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you, but we here now. All right? Thank y'all for sticking with me. Bye-bye.